Plan of descent starts with Krell being a knob. What a surprise.
Interrogate the prisoners if you have to, but I want this base under our complete control. And I don't want excuses.
And I want your homework in first thing tomorrow.
And your taxes done last week.
Fives is then seen tinkering with the Umbaran fighters. Wow, most of the nice setup goes to the fighters this arc.
I'm still waiting for Krill to thank us for handing this base over to him.
Well, we all thought George Lucas would stop mucking with the Star Wars movies 20 years after the fact. It's not a perfect universe.
Krell then calls Obi-Wan in the tower, who informs them of a ship supplying the Umbarans with weapons. And even the holograms on Umbara look, for lack of a better term, alien. The pixelated look and more distorted sound is very unique and kinda cool.
Or it could just be a weak signal. Obi-Wan even says they're being jammed at the end of the conversation, so combine that with a possible weak signal since the technology was extremely foreign to the clones and that's what you could get.
Plus I love this little aside look Rex and Kenobi share while Krell proposes
Another f***ing forward assault!
Rex once again tries to suggest a smarter approach with a recon, as Krell fails to realize he's not going to be much help to Obi-Wan in bite-sized chunks.
I wonder if that tumor on his throat would make a good punching bag.
It's not a tumor at all.
And you know, I really like this bit where Krell passively aggressively tells Rex that he's smart and loyal enough to follow orders, but when Rex looks up at Krell, the lighting covers his eyes and all you can see is the glimmer of the Umbaran moon in his eye. It's kind of eerie and I believe shows that Rex is finally having enough of Krell's crap by now, showing him full attention.
I guess Krell doesn't realize Rex is smart enough to realize he's full of crap. In the hangar, Fives decides to play Captain Obvious.
Those missiles have 100 megaton yield. We won't even make it to the Delta. I think you're all overreacting. Obviously, General Krell knows what he's doing. Do you really think he doesn't care if he loses men?
Oh, Dogma, you missed basic intelligence training, didn't you?
Yeah, he's still less of a bitch than Rhodey.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
He is not acting like the other Jedi. He has no respect for us.
He can't diss our crew in this piece.
Do you drink your tea with that mouth?
Ah, my culture got burned!
Fives actually comes up with a plan this time, having cracked the Starfighters' access codes so they could sneak among the fleet and destroy their supply ship. Granted, it's a little quick, but if any clone group could crack alien tech that fast, it's the 501st. However, Krell can't take a strategy better than getting blown up.
Who do you propose would fly these starfighters? Are your troops now pilots?
Well, in Battlefront 2 that didn't stop them.
Although, Krell does have a good point that even if the clones are adaptable, they aren't pilots and they need all the men that they have.
I guess that is a decent bit of strategic thinking. Ugh, I feel dirty. I need to take a shower.
Luckily, we're shown immediately after how powerful the missiles Krell's sending the clones into are. When Rex has to go and tell his men the attack is going on as planned, the look on his face is heartbreaking. He knows he tried everything he could, and that he might not see most of his brothers again after that.
Oh, there's another option. We go ahead with our plan and suffer the consequences. You would be court-martialed. If it were up to me, and we had the time and the training, I would say do it.
I think Palpatine would agree.
Do it. Not if we're in their fighters. No one's gonna be shooting at us.
Fives? No one else knows about your plan. What about the Republic fighters who are shooting at enemy ships? They see an enemy ship and they will shoot at it. So you could die by friendly fire and no one would know.
No one's gonna be shooting at us.
How do you know that? Answer me, goddammit. Did you read ahead in the script and realize you don't die till season 6?
No spoilers!
It's been 4 years. Didn't you get on my back for you spoiling Rainbow Rocks?
Well, damn it.
It's over, Mr. Left Turn. I have the logical high ground.
First time for everything, I guess.
Don't try it! High ground!
Rex and Fives then head off outside the barracks and have one of the best exchanges of dialogue, not in just the arc, but in the entire show. I love how Rex tries to explain to Fives that they're all a part of something larger than their own feelings and individuality, but Fives fires back that following orders they all know are wrong cancels out the bigger picture. How could there be a bigger picture if the small pieces don't break off and do what they know is right and get themselves killed over something that was preventable? It's good to focus on the big picture, but it's like focusing only on the future. It's a bad idea because you'll miss the here and now, which could potentially sever any chances of there being a future in the first place.
And this line,
But I am not just another number. None of us are.
basically sums up how well this arc and the entire show managed to characterize the clones. They aren't all the same. They have different personalities and responses to difficult situations such as this. Fives and Hardcase then practice in one of the fighters, and it goes about as well as trying to escape a velociraptor in a door factory.
it!
God damn it, hard case.
At least we get some more comedy in an episode that's been pretty dramatic so far.
This can't get much worse.
Oh, you mean like the deal getting worse all the time?
Nothing's out of control down here.
Then why have the alarms been triggered?
Because it's 2018.
That's gonna leave a mark.
God damn it, Hardcase.
Boring conversation anyway.
Luckily, Hardcase works out how to fly the thing just as Krill comes down and orders the fighters locked down.
I don't want anything else exploding.
Oh, he made another good point. Ugh, I need another shower.
Still a little hard-hitting that even the comedic scenes in this arc have pretty serious consequences, as Fives, Hardcase, and eavesdropping Jesse agree to fly despite Krell's orders.
General Skywalker blew up a droid control ship when he was just a kid.
Yeah, and he also thought spinning was a good trick, and he scratched up the paint job to boot, so maybe he wasn't the best example to use.
The last action is to go to Rex and make sure he won't stop them.
I can't help you when you get caught. I understand, sir.
Ow. My heart.
However, the Azure snitch notices the three are gone and coerces Tup into telling Krell.
If we know what they're up to, and we keep our mouths shut, then we'll be complicit in their insubordination. Do you really want to be court-martialed?
Well, if you just keep your mouth shut, there'll be no problem, General's pet.
Look, sir!
Also, I love the smile Rex gives, as if to say, well, that's 3 less troopers to worry about with the missiles. Or even, at least nothing else will explode around here.
Maketh more memes, oh wonderful interweb surfers.
And once they leave the planet's atmosphere, it's mass chaos all around, like the humans and jets versus alien craft in Independence Day. I'm not joking, but that giant hornet's nest of a space battle they're flying into looks safer than any of Krell's plans. But the three continuing to enter this death trap speaks volumes to their bravery and selflessness, proving they're not blind sheep who follow orders. They're true soldiers doing whatever it takes to preserve the big picture.
There aren't any Republic cruisers around, so the fighters are getting massacred. It gives the feeling that quite a few parts of this invasion weren't well planned. At least that's less potential friendly fire. They manage to make it to the ship, as Rex does manage to help them, saying he sent them for reconnaissance. Rex is just the best.
Not only the best, but he's also pretty much figured out how to talk to Krell without giving himself an aneurysm. Just stroke his ego by bragging about how it'll help his plan even though his lie goes against Krell's orders.
He then decides to stop the two tattletales before they get to the General.
Why don't you tell me, and I'll report it to the General? On second thought, sir, it's not important. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Wow, even when hindering his brothers, Rex is badass.
Be careful what you wish for, Pat. Remember the next episode?
Oh. Right.
Back on the supply ship, we get some much needed levity with some battle droid slapstick.
Get back to work.
Never gets old.
It's nice that they embrace the clankers being completely useless in the films and just went all the way with it.
Remember this, it'll become heartbreaking in a bit. And egads, a droid with intelligence, as they shield the main reactor and the troopers are cornered by the tinnies.
Can't turn back now!
Well, here we go. With little options left, Hardcase realizes there's only one thing he can do, and the removal of his helmet solidifies he isn't just a clone, but his own person.
As consolation, he gets probably the best line in this arc.
You've disobeyed enough orders today, sir. Follow this one. Get out of here!
And at least he went out with a smile, probably knew it was either this or the firing squad. Why is it always the clones with big freaking guns that have to tragically sacrifice themselves?
Live to fight another day, boys. Live to fight another day.
God damn it, Hardcase. You died as you lived, being crazy awesome.
Faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. Go, 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 go!
Fives and Jesse barely make it out as Rex
Oh my god! What's wrong with your face?
First Krell's beard, now this? Animators, what's your excuse this time?
I just don't know what went wrong.
At least give me something.
Nothing?
Fine. But man, this moment when Fives and Jesse remove their helmets before giving the bad news that Hardcase wasn't coming back is so heart-tugging.
Not that Krell cares, he just takes issue with them going against his crazy plans. But even now Rex vouches for them, saying it was his orders. I mean, Fives takes responsibility, but still, Rex tried to help them when they got caught and all was hopeless. He's such a perfect leader, loyal to his men without a second thought, even potentially at the cost of his life.
Make no mistake. For crossing me, you will pay the price.
They just watched their brother pay the price by getting blown up. I think they've been through enough.
Carnage of Krell starts with Rex still arguing for Fives and Jesse, but it falls on deaf. Does Krell have ears?
You know, Krell, if you've seen this before, then perhaps it's your command. Have you ever actually tried talking with your troops instead of sending them out like pawns? How do we know some of the clones don't just let themselves die to escape your orders? I've said it before in this review, but since your orders literally define the word insane, it's no wonder some troops are defective in your eyes. But the fact that Krell still calls Fives and Jesse by their damn clone IDs is proof that even after all they've done to succeed on Umbara, Krell will never respect clones. Even referring to them as defective is evidence of that. Had he said disobedient, I could at least give him some credit.
Well, he fails the self-awareness test, but at least he says he won't court-martial them.
I'm afraid they'll need to be disposed of. Prepare a squad for execution.
What? But sir...
Guilty till proven innocent, eh? I guess Krell went to the YouTube copyright school of law.
Rex goes to break the news to the two, and the fact that whenever they talk, it cuts to behind the cell door maybe hints at some separation between their views. Rex still trying to compromise with Krell after everything, while Fives and Jesse didn't care what happened and disobeyed. However, the door opening signifies that he's finally accepting Krell's orders can't be followed.
We made our choice. We know what the price was. Yeah, speak for yourself. Still got your sense of humor, I see. Yeah, who said I was joking?
I guess Gallo's humor is absent in a galaxy far, far away. Can't blame him. The firing squad is assembled, and why in the name of Yoda is Kix on the firing squad? Someone in the Legion has a friggin' cruel sense of humor.
I've officially lost my sense of humor.
Same here, Jesse.
What I find really intriguing about this scene is the fact that Krell doesn't go down to join the firing squad for Fives and Jesse's deaths. Instead, he's watching from up above in the tower with a still disgusted look on his face. It's like the show staff is really trying to illustrate just how much better Krell thinks he's above the clones, or that they're trying to show how much Krell is playing God since he's decided the fate of Fives and Jesse. Either way, his presence in the tower is really chilling.
The squad take aim, but Fives calls bullshit on the whole thing. He makes such good points, like how they deserve respect to make their own decisions.
We are loyal soldiers. We follow orders, but we are not a bunch of unthinking droids!
A soldier should listen to orders, but never blindly follow foolish plans into certain death. Like any people with ears, the clones just can't bring themselves to shoot Fives and Jesse. So Fives avoids getting killed by his brothers, only to be killed by one of his own brothers later.
You bastards! You vicious, heartless bastards!
And my god, the clones dropping their blaster rifles speak so much more than them saying a word. The fact that they simply released their weapons after purposefully missing Fives and Jesse just proves Fives' point that they're men who are capable of critical thinking and making their own decisions. If they were droids or simply disposable like Krell thinks they are, they would have fired their weapons and went about their business. They knew what they were doing was wrong, and it was time to stick it to Krell.
The good general isn't pleased about being denied, but Rex takes it like a badass.
You are making a mistake by crossing me, clone.
It's Captain, sir.
Before things heat up too much, they get a call. Despite the jamming.
Suspicious!
They get a message saying there's an incoming attack.
Lock the traitors in the brig.
Not yet.
Make sure the troops are aware that the enemy may disguise themselves as clones to try to trick us.
Remember this, because Jesus H. Christ is it going to become horrifying later.
Watch out, Dogma.
Good, they're adapting to the alien environment. Perhaps that'll come in handy later.
We're under attack!
Oh god, I feel sick.
Right away, they can't see the enemy and get picked off quickly. Even as they set up mortars, it's clear these guys are more effective than most of the Umbarans they faced yet. But as their casualties start to rise, Rex makes a shocking discovery.
What?
Jesus Christ. This is one scene from my childhood shows that is permanently tattooed in my brain.
Rex is utterly horrified, and it tells in his voice as he runs like a madman into the oncoming fire. Even if his life is taken, he is going to stop this senseless slaughter. And once the truth is revealed, all the clones can do is look in shock. Even Rex, who's usually pretty stoic, breaks down in tears at the revelation. There are barely any words that can describe how amazingly grim this scene is.
Everyone, stop firing! We're shooting at our own men! They're not Umbarans! They're clones!
Okay, I was going to splice in the music from Platoon here, but damn, the showrunners know what they're doing with the music department because, holy crap, the music portrays both the horrors of what's taken place and the tragedy of the realization that these clones have been duped into killing their own brothers. It's a great mixture that both haunts you and brings you to tears. You feel what's going on through the clones' minds.
After it's over, they manage to find their leader, Waxer, on the brink of death. The scene was tragic enough already, but the death of the most likable clone in the army makes it a real tearjerker. I know he was a minor character, but he was so nice and lovable in his one episode in the Limelight that it makes this scene even more potent. Luckily, his death wasn't for nothing, as he revealed that Krell ordered them to that position, and there's no doubt in their or the audience's mind that he needs to go down.
What I'm proposing is highly treasonous. If any man chooses to opt out, do it now.
Badass good guys.
But even now, Dogma feels conflicted, ironically taking off his helmet and making his own decision to remain loyal, while Rex puts his on to symbolize how he won't give Krell the pleasure of looking him in the eye, and that it's his duty as a soldier to do the right thing.
And I love how there's absolutely zero dialogue between Rex and the platoon, and eventually when they confront Fives and Jesse, just handing them their blasters. They know what's to be done and continue on with their duty to arrest Krell. It may be uncharted territories for them, but no words can be said to describe what's going on.
General Krell, you're being relieved of duty.
It's treason then.
No. No. No.
You're outnumbered.
You dare to attack a Jedi!
You don't deserve that title anymore, you frog-faced bastard.
So what's he gonna do now? Blindly walk into their fire or toss a grenade only to jump on? Oh, crap.
It turns out, when he gets off his froggish ass and fights, Krell's pretty badass, slicing into his former troopers with no hesitation or mercy. It almost feels like a prototype of Vader's corridor scene in Rogue One.
I will not be undermined by creatures bred in some laboratory.
Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with that line later.
You're gonna do superhero landing. Wait for it. Superhero landing. Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
You know, Krell calls himself a Jedi, yet he's using two of the exact same style lightsaber as Darth Maul and Phantom Menace. Call me crazy if you wish, but this is starting to go far beyond Krell just hating clones or even showing signs of being a grey Jedi. Maybe he has some allegiance to the Sith?
Not very subtle. Even the deeper, more distorted sound his lightsabers have could hint at his straying down a dark path and more warped morals than most Jedi. But Dogma stops the clones giving chase.
Lower your weapon, Dogma. I can't do that, sir. That's an order.
Very poor choice of words.
I used to believe that being a good soldier meant doing everything they told you. That's how they engineered us. But we're not droids. We're not programmed. You have to learn to make your own decisions.
Better choice of words.
This scene of Rex finally bringing Dogma around is beautiful. He acknowledges that initially he felt the same way, but after his experience in numerous battles and seeing clones like Slick and Cut, he realized that while his leaders deserve respect, they also need to be questioned, and that his own judgment is just as important.
And I just wanted to interject here. Notice that this is one of the very few times in this 4-part arc that whatever the clones are shooting at has no Mr. Clouds blocking their vision. It's like the mystery, confusion, and deception are finally lifted and they know who the true enemy in their mission is.
But in the forest, their target turns out to be a little more difficult to catch.
Anybody got anything?
Yeah, negative, Captain.
Sector is clear.
Wait!
Not clear. Not clear.
Rex hears his men being butchered via the comlink and only gets a glimpse of the general before he hides up in the trees to terrifying effect. Even though Krell's echo when talking is kinda silly, I still find it creepy as hell. The redder tint to the forest than last time and his mocking them while laughing evilly is really unsettling. He's shed any pretense of being a Jedi and shown himself for the monster he really is.
Damn, when Rex is calling his fellow troops for Krell's location, this turns right from an action scene straight into a horror scene. You have Krell's presence masked by the fog and the foliage, only with his voice giving vague clues as to his whereabouts. And then he pops in and out, slicing him up just like a horror villain.
You've all been my pawns.
Get him!
At one point he even puts out the lightsabers and kills the troopers with his bare hands. He even goes Bane on one poor sod.
Jesus Christ!
But his psychosis proves to be his undoing, as he sends Tup flying towards one of the Cthulhu clitorises.
Captain Rex, this is Tup. If you can, force the General towards me.
Alright, now we get Tup, the squeamish clone, coming up with a plan to save the day. Awesome!
Hey, ugly! Come and get me!
But he uses one of the most cliched lines in media. Oh well.
He uses it to awesome effect!
And the cowardly clone manages to stand his ground against a terrifying threat for his plan to go perfectly.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Anyone else want to stop and play with the animals?
Oh god, how I've been wanting to use this line against him. How does it feel now, Krell? Your arrogance coming back to bite you in the ass, huh?
Hey Krell, how does it feel to be undermined by creatures bred in some laboratory?
But even now Krell manages to cut down some troopers. Damn! He may have been a terrible strategist, even if it was intentional, but he's a beast when cutting loose. He manages to slice his way out, but Tup stuns him. Nice way to finish his little arc of always being conflicted about following orders, scared of both Krell's strategies and his wrath.
But you're a Jedi. How could you?
A Jedi? I am no longer naive enough to be a Jedi.
Raider!
Nah, I've always wanted to use that line.
Plus Krell shows himself in the scene to be interesting to analyse. His vision of seeing the Republic fall indicates he foresaw Order 66, which would explain why he hates clones so much, as well as thinking them blindly loyal, even if he had no clarity to see that Dooku and the Separatists were nothing more than pawns in Sidious's game. But why didn't he alert the other Jedi, you ask? Because of the no attachment rule. He didn't feel any obligation to help his brethren, and that drove him to become more selfish and eventually down the dark side. Throughout the show, there were little lines of characters like Anakin and Ahsoka questioning that contradictory rule, with Jedi supposed to be benevolent yet detached, but this brilliantly shows how much of a paradox it is.
I followed all of your orders, and you made me kill my brothers!
That's because you were the biggest fool of them all, Dogma.
You know, I just noticed, Krell actually called Dogma by his name and not his clone ID. I know it could mean jack all considering it's Krell, but what if he's doing that as an extra kick to the gut of how blind Dogma was to follow Krell's orders like a mindless droid this whole time? This honestly shows how much of a dick Krell is, finally calling a trooper by their name without having to be reminded, but it's only to rub it in his face that Dogma was easy to use as a pawn.
Krell then says he's just going to wait for the Umbarans to free him. This kind of suggests he could get free. I mean, he could just force his way out of the cuffs, but still wants to see Rex and his men die despite finding him out. They even reveal that Krell sabotaged the transmitter and that Obi-Wan's taken the capital, so the remaining Umbarans are headed towards them. There's no debate. They all know Krell's too dangerous to live, but Rex can't kill him. Through some little speck of loyalty or respect left and Krell's continued manipulation, he just can't. Meaning Dogma has to finally shut him up.
Eventually you'll have to do the right thing.
Having Dogma shoot Krell and ending the struggle means more than any other clone doing the deed. Despite what Krell has put all the clones through, Dogma was the one whose trust was most betrayed. Through this entire arc, all the clones were skeptical of Krell's actions, but Dogma followed him, thinking he was a loyal soldier. However, upon discovering what his trust made him do, this hurt him harder than anyone else. Having your trust betrayed hurts a lot, but having it betrayed to the point you were forced to shoot your own brothers, the ones you grew up with and trained with, is incomparable to anything. This just shows the weight of trust you instill in others, and if it's broken, it can cause you to snap. Dogma's even on the verge of breaking down after doing what he knew he had to do, act like a real soldier for the first time on Umbara.
In the original script, Rex was supposed to pull the trigger, but the writers thought it would have been out of character, and I agree. After all this conflict about following orders, it makes sense that he'd be hesitant. It also sets up his going against Order 66, as revealed in Rebels. If he couldn't shoot a Jedi who betrayed him, then how could he kill ones he respected and saw as friends?
But I do know that someday this war is going to end. Then what? We're soldiers. What happens to us then?
The Empire's crappy retirement plan, being given a rundown walker on a barren desert planet.
So that was the Umbara arc.
Perfection.
Possibly one of the most brutal but masterful arcs I've ever seen in animation. I enjoyed the action, but wow, the story elements and themes easily drew me in.
I find it a little ironic how the animation in this arc is more cinematic than the Clone Wars film, but the shadows of Umbara, designs of their technology and spectacular action set pieces all have a very cinematic scope. The clones' dynamics are well fleshed out, the violence pushes the limits for a kid's animated show, and at the centre of it all is Rex's brilliant development. After seeing several clones who disobeyed orders for worse or for better, he decided that while he's a loyal soldier, he should question his leaders, especially when his own men are paying such a great price. Rewatching this arc as a kid actually got me realising loads of the little foreshadowing moments and themes, so I guess in a way, I wouldn't be here without this arc. Overall, it's by far the best either Clone Wars series has to offer, being deliciously dark and tragically engaging from start to finish, and it just kept getting better and better right till the end.
Well, Pat, that was fun, but now we have to review the championship race at Homestead, Miami.
F*** that! I'm not reviewing your Jumbo Skull-X-Trix!
Huh, you have no choice. I call the shots.
We're on my channel now, Lefty.
What? Oh, balls.
Republic crap preach. I'm Rex 11. Thank you for watching.